I don't actually need this. Carol, it has been a fabulous year, and I don't know what to say. It's been wonderful walking in her shadow. Carol has really, in my opinion, been a really wonderful leader. She's motivated the ranks. She's brought in a lot of new folks. And I think the old saying, walk softly and carry a big stick. She carried a pretty large gavel. We did exactly what she told us. Thank you so much. Wow, I guess you're stuck with me, and I hate to stand on that podium because I have large heels, and if I do that and I fall off, then my good friend Linda Jokel's husband over here is going to have to put my knee back together again, so we don't want to do that. And I'm going to be a little teeny bit irreverent tonight. I had this great speech planned, and it's only going to be a few moments, as I promised you. And then my husband Bruce, wait for me, right here, guy with this nice tie. He's got a good sense of humor. And I think he was worried my thoughts would be too dry. So he went on the internet and Googled realtor jokes. And at first I was a little put off, and I thought, oh, I don't think you tell this joke. And so I passed it by John, and he said, I'm going to get phone calls. And I said, all right, let's get Bob Kennedy to weigh in on this. And Bob said, well, I think he can pull it off. And I said, okay, that's a split decision. I'm going with it. So let me just say that if you find this to be too irreverent, you should not call John Baldock, but you should call Bruce Chamberlain, 440-2847. And I need the glasses for this. Let me set the stage. Husband and wife celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. He's a realtor. She's apparently suffered through God knows 50 years of this. His name is Harold, and her name is Irene. Harold and Irene went out for dinner to celebrate their 50th anniversary. After a couple of glasses of wine, Harold asked, Irene, have you ever cheated on me during our marriage? She said, oh, no, of course not. And he says, well, if you had, it's okay, because I really just want to know. And she looks at him and she says, well, what? He said. Well, remember way back 30 years ago, honey, when you thought you got laid off and, from that development company that you were working for? He says, yeah, I remember that. I was sure glad they kept me on. She says, well, I paid a little visit to your boss, and if you remember, everyone but you got laid off. He says, you didn't. She says, yes, but I did it for you, honey. He says, okay, all right, but were there any others? She says, well, remember 10 years ago when you needed heart surgery and bypass, and that surgeon in the area was just too busy, Dr. Jacobson, and he said he was too booked and couldn't take you? He says, yeah. Well, I talked him into taking you. He says, you mean? She says, well, it saved your life. Okay, I guess I can see that. But were there any others? Oh, no. Are you sure? Well, what? Well, do you remember when you were running for president of the local chapter of the real estate board and you were 32 votes short? There weren't all that many votes, and it wasn't 32 votes short, so we're in pretty good shape. I had some remarks planned here, but as everybody knows, I hate wearing my glasses because then I, get all distracted. So I really just wanted to talk from the heart for a couple of moments. And, Nicole talked about her theme for the year. And several months ago, John Baldock asked me, well, what are your thoughts moving forward for the year? And I didn't have to take all that long, and I thought to myself, I really, really, really would love people to plug in to this association, into the state association, into the national association, because I'm very fortunate. I work for a wonderful company. For those of you who know me, I haven't jumped ship, and I probably never will. I really love my company, but we have a lot of fabulous tools. And so does your association, so does your state association and your national association. So for me, it's the icing on the cake. So in moving forward, I said, you know what, my team is get plugged in. And I want you to think about something. I want you to imagine a day where you can't plug stuff in. You get out of bed in the morning. If you're like me, you blindly walk to the coffee pot, and you hope like hell your husband turned it on. You get your coffee, and now you're somewhat awake. Only today there's no plug. There's no coffee, and now half asleep. It's okay. We go up to take a shower. I'm going to blow dry my hair. Only I can't because I can't plug the darn thing in. So now I'm not only half asleep, but I'm having a bad hair day, which is really not a good thing. So from there, you wander over to the computer, and you say, well, let me check the newspaper, let me get my email, only it's not working because the battery's dead, you can't plug that in. And then God knows your BlackBerry goes down. So now, you got no paycheck, because you can't get a hold of any of your clients, and you can't deal with the issues on the table. At the end of the day, if you could have plugged all those things in, you would have had a good day. And so what I want to say to you here today is there are two people in this room. Raise your hand, Fran Ween and Jeannie Fellows. Come on, raise your hands. These are the two people that plugged me in early on. Fran may not remember me in her principles and practice class because I was that really shy kid in the back row that never said anything. But at the end of the day, I left that experience, and I had a lot of respect for Fran. She knew a tremendous amount, and I thought, if I can do half as much as she's doing, I'll be okay. And then I met Jeannie, and I never went anywhere else. And Jeannie, I don't think I even knew how to use the telephone in the office when she recruited me for my first committee at ECAR. And I thought, well, what the heck, maybe they'll show me how to use the phone. So I said yes. But the long story short is I never looked back. And at the end of the day, I think it made me a better person, and it certainly made me a better realtor. Because when you're out there and you're dealing with the clients, information is readily available on the internet, but the interpretation of that information and the way that you present it to the clients is what the difference is. The people in this room are the people who are plugged in, and I love co-working with you guys because you know how to do things. You're good at what you do, and your clients like you. And I think if we could do anything today, what I would say is go home, plug yourself in. If you haven't checked into eCar, CAR, and NAR, you need to do it now. They have great websites, great resources. And if you haven't volunteered, there's a spot for you. Call us, because at the end of the day, when you walked through that door, you might have had a Ravis umbrella over your head, or maybe you were Prudential or Remax or whoever you work for, but the reality is you left that umbrella out the door, and right now you're standing here, and the only umbrella over you is the association. And I think that they do a tremendous job. So I want to thank you for having the faith and trust in me for the next year. I can promise you, you'll need a seatbelt and you'll never be bored. Thank you.